Hi, it's Doug Lambert, sharing another blog with you. So I'm keeping these blogs short and I'm focusing them on things that I think will be of huge interest and really useful for many of you. Some of the earlier blogs that I've shared recently started off with self-awareness, so important for you to be aware of yourself and the effect of yourself on others. Then went on to team effectiveness. Strong teams are critical to turn your strategy into action. If the teams are not working, the leadership's not working. Then went on to transformation, cultural transformation. So there's so much change going on around the world. All organizations now, in their own different ways, are transforming. And when you do this, it's so important to bring people with you so they have a sense of a feeling of belonging. So in today's blog, I'm going to talk to you about finance fundamentals. This topic might surprise you as one that I'm giving special focus to. I've had the privilege of coaching hundreds of executives in more than 80 different public, private sector organizations. And one of the biggest gaps that I've found for leaders at all levels, including exco level, is not having a really good understanding around the fundamentals of finance and how to use this understanding to help make good decisions. So it's really important. So when we talk about finance fundamentals, what are we talking about? Really, it's the main financial statements and the main ratios that you need to understand to help you make good decisions. So let's start off with the financial statements. There are three main ones. That's the balance sheet, then the profit and loss statement, and then the cash flow statement. So if we just reflect briefly on the balance sheet. The balance sheet shows you your assets, your current assets, your short-term assets, which you could liquidate within 12 months, and your longer-term assets, which will take longer to liquidate. So current assets like cash in the bank, longer-term assets like plant and equipment. And then your liabilities, your short-term liabilities, current liabilities, that you need to pay off in less than 12 months. So certain creditors that you have. And longer term liabilities, long-term loans, and also part of the liability side is shareholders equity, the capital that's been injected into your business by your shareholders. So when we think of this balance sheet, you know, there's so many parts of it that you can leverage. So if you take, for example, your debtors, how long do your debtors, people who owe you money, take to pay you back? And if you can just move this from, say, 90 days to 30 days, it can have an enormous impact on your bottom line. But we tend to ignore these things and just take them for granted. The next statement is the financial statement, the profit and loss statement. So this shows you all the revenue that comes in as a result of your sales. It shows you the cost of sales, what it costs you to generate these sales. It goes down into net profit before and after tax. There are many parts to this. So if we just take one part, take for example gross margin. Let's say your gross margin changes. It improves or it gets less. So what? So what does it mean? What's caused it? Is it volumes going up or down? Is it your price going up or down? You need to understand these different parts to help you make a good decision. And then going on to the cash flow statement. A lot of people actually don't know what's in a cash flow statement or how to use it. This is all the money that flows into the business and the money that flows out of the business. So these inflows and outflows are influenced by operating activities that bring in profit or incur loss. They're influenced by investment activities where you invest in something, you buy a new plant, you buy new equipment, or you sell off something which brings in income. And they are influenced by financing activities. So if you get a new loan, that brings money in. If you pay off dividends, that's money going out. So it's all these things, and it's so important to know your way around the cash flow statement, so that you can be aware of your readiness to sustain the business or to grow it. So let's leave these these main financial statements and reflect on ratios. What are these ratios useful for? There's so many of them. They help us measure our performance against the past, last year for example. They help us measure performance against competition, so important to be aware of this. And they help us measure our performance against best practice. So there are lots and lots of different types of ratios, but keeping it relatively simple, there are four main types. The first type is profitability ratios. So this shows you what return are you getting in your investment. You invest a certain amount of money, say it's 100,000, how much are you getting back? It also shows you your operating effectiveness. So you spend, how effective are the resources, the people, the talent, and the other equipments that you use in generating revenue for us. So what's your operating effectiveness? And then thirdly, it makes you aware of your liquidity. How liquid are you? How much money have you got at hand if you immediately need to sustain the business, or if you need to inject capital to grow the business? So what's your liquidity like? And the last set of ratios are leveraging ratios. Are you leveraging the amount of money that you borrow, your indebtedness, enough? Because there are some amazing opportunities to get interest, to get loans at low interest rate. Are you leveraging this enough to make you in a position to optimize your business? So that's a very quick look at the three main financial statements: the balance sheet, the profit and loss statement, and the cash flow statement, and the four main types of ratios: the profitability ratios, the operating ratios, the liquidity ratios, and the leveraging ratios. So you might be thinking there's so much complexity to this, and potentially there is. But there's also a way of keeping it simple and helping you get your mind around it so you can make better decisions. If you'd like to find out a bit more about this, you'd like some help from me, please contact me through my website. Thank you.